Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome back to English Made Easy. And I'm so happy you've chosen to spend a little bit of your day with me. Here on our channel, our goal is always the same: to help you learn English in the simplest, most relaxing way possible. We take big, sometimes scary looking ideas, and we make them feel small, manageable, and easy to understand. Today, we're going to tackle a special set of words. These are words you probably hear all the time on the news, see in headlines of articles, or find in discussions about world events. They can seem serious, formal, and maybe a little bit intimidating. But here's what I want you to know. Understanding these words is like having a secret key. It's a key that unlocks a deeper understanding of the world around you, helping you follow conversations about society, politics, and the economy with confidence. When you know these words, you are more informed, and being informed is a true superpower. So in this session, we are going to dive deep into 10 of these important words. We will gently take them apart and see how they work. And I promise you, by the end of our time together, these big words will feel much smaller. You will understand exactly what they mean, learn some easier ways to talk about the same ideas, and know when and how to use them. So please, find a comfortable spot. Let your shoulders relax, take a nice, slow breath, and let's begin our journey into making these hard words simple. Let's start with the word you will hear whenever there is a big public argument. The word is controversial. First, let's practice saying it. It's a bit of a long one, so we'll go slowly. Con-tro-ver-sho. Let's break it down into its 4 parts, its syllables. Con-tro-ver-sho. The strongest part of the word, the part we stress, is ver. Controversial. Let's try it one more time together. Controversial. You've got it. So, what kind of word is it? Controversial is an adjective. And as we know, an adjective is a word that describes something. In this case, it usually describes a topic, a decision, or a piece of art. Now for the simple meaning. If something is controversial, it means it causes a lot of public disagreement and argument. People have very strong and very different opinions about it. It divides people into 2 camps, those who support it and those who are against it. Here's a simple sentence to see it in action. The city's decision to build a new highway was very controversial. Let's rephrase that in even simpler words. It just means many people in the city wanted the new highway, but many other people were very angry about it. The decision caused a big public debate. For a synonym, a word with a similar meaning, you can think of debatable or divisive. That word divisive is helpful because you can see the word divide in it. A controversial issue divides people. Let's create a little picture in our minds to help us remember. Imagine a school decides that all students must wear a bright pink uniform. Some parents and students might love the idea, thinking it's fun and creates unity. But other parents and students might hate it, feeling it takes away their freedom to choose their own clothes. They might protest and write letters. This new rule would be highly controversial. That feeling of strong opinions on both sides is the heart of this word. Here's a common usage tip. We use controversial for ideas, plans, and topics that people can argue about. We don't use it for simple facts or objects. You wouldn't say the sky is controversial because everyone agrees it's blue. But a new law, a modern art painting, or a historical movie, those can all be very controversial. So, when you hear controversial, just think causes a big argument. Number 2, allegation. Often, a topic becomes controversial because one person makes a serious claim against another. This brings us to our second word, which is closely related, allegation. Let's work on the pronunciation. Al, lay, gay, shun. We can break it into its syllables. Al, lay, gay, shun. You'll notice that shun sound at the end, which is very common in English. The stress, the strongest sound, is on the gay syllable. Al, lay, gay, shun. Let's say it together, nice and easy. Allegation. Wonderful. An allegation is a noun. It's a thing. Specifically, it's a claim or a statement. So, what does it mean? An allegation is a statement that someone has done something wrong or illegal, but, and this is the most important part, it has not been proven to be true yet. It's an accusation that needs to be investigated. Let's use a simple classroom example. If a student tells the teacher, "He copied my answers on the test," that is an allegation. The student is claiming something bad happened, but the teacher doesn't have proof yet. The teacher needs to look at the tests to see if they are the same. Here's an example sentence you might see in the news. The politician is facing allegations of corruption. In simpler language, that just means someone is officially saying the politician did something dishonest, but it hasn't been proven in court yet. The word allegation itself tells us this is still a question, not a confirmed fact. An easy synonym for allegation is claim or accusation. Let's use an emotional example to help it stick. Imagine you're in charge of the class pet hamster for the weekend. When you bring it back on Monday, another student shouts, "You didn't feed him all weekend." That feeling of shock, hurt, and maybe even a little anger because you took great care of the hamster, that is the feeling of being faced with an allegation. It's a serious claim that hangs in the air, waiting for the truth to come out. A quick usage tip. Allegation is the noun, the claim itself. The action word, the verb, is to allege. So you can say, "She made an allegation against him," using the noun. Or you can say, "She alleged that he copied her work," using the verb. It's a formal and serious word, so you'll mainly hear it in legal or news reports. When you hear allegation, just think an unproven accusation. 3. Inflation. Now, let's move from social issues to the world of money and the economy. Our third word is one you hear constantly, and it affects everyone's wallet. The word is inflation. First, let's get the pronunciation. Inflation. The syllables are inflation. There's our shun ending again. The stress falls on the middle part, flay. Inflation. Say it with me. Inflation. Very good. Inflation is a noun. It's a name for an economic process. So, what does it mean? In the simplest possible terms, inflation is when the prices of goods and services go up over time. Because prices are rising, the money you have buys less than it did before. The value of your money goes down. Let's make this crystal clear. Imagine last year you could buy a loaf of bread for $2. This year, you go to the same store and the exact same loaf of bread now costs $2.20. That increase in price is inflation in action. Your $2 can no longer buy a full loaf of bread. Your money has become a little bit weaker. Here is a typical sentence from the news. The central bank is raising interest rates to combat inflation. In simple language, this means prices for everything are going up too quickly, so the main bank of the country is trying to make it more expensive to borrow money to slow down spending and control the rising prices. A great simple synonym for inflation is just rising prices. For our visual example, let's think of a hot air balloon. To make the balloon rise, you fill it with hot air and it inflates. It gets bigger. Think of the general level of prices in a country like that balloon. Inflation is the process of all those prices being pumped up, getting bigger and bigger across the entire economy. A usage tip to remember. People often talk about the rate of inflation. This just tells you how fast prices are going up. A small amount of inflation, like 2% per year, is generally seen as normal. But when you hear about high inflation, like 8% or 10%, that's when it becomes a major problem for families and the government. When you hear inflation, just think prices go up, money buys less. 4. Recession. When the problem of inflation gets very serious, or when other major economic problems happen, you might start hearing our next word. The two are often linked. The word is recession. Let's practice saying it. Re-see-shun. Recession. The parts are re-see-shun. The stress is on that middle syllable, see. Recession. Try it with me. Recession. Perfect. Like inflation, recession is a noun. It describes a specific, difficult period for a country's economy. What does it mean? A recession is a time when the economy stops growing and actually starts to shrink. This means that businesses are making less money, production slows down, and as a result, some people may lose their jobs. It's a period of economic slowdown. Think of it this way. A healthy economy is like a growing garden. Flowers are blooming, fruits are growing, and everything is expanding. A recession is like a long period of bad weather. The plants stop growing, some might even start to wilt, and there's no new growth. The garden isn't dead, but it's struggling and getting smaller. Here's an example sentence. During the recession, the company had to close 2 of its factories. In simple terms, that means during the period of economic difficulty, the company wasn't making enough money, so it had to shut down parts of its business. A simple synonym for a recession is an economic downturn or a slump. The economy is slumping down, not growing up. For a visual, emotional example, think of a busy shopping street on a Saturday. All the stores are full of people, music is playing, and shop owners are smiling. That's a healthy economy. Now picture that same street during a recession. Many stores have for rent signs in the window, there are very few shoppers, and the street feels quiet and worried. That feeling of struggle and decline is what a recession feels like. Here's an important tip. Don't confuse recession with depression. A recession is a bad economic period. A depression, like the Great Depression in the 1930s, is a very, very deep and long-lasting recession. It's much more severe. A recession is like having a bad flu for a few months. A depression is like a serious chronic illness that lasts for years. When you hear recession, just think The economy is shrinking and times are hard. 5. Corruption. One of the things that can make economic problems worse and which makes citizens very angry is our fifth word, corruption. Let's check the pronunciation. Co-rup-shun. The syllables are co-ra-shun. There is that shun sound again. The stress is right in the middle. Corruption. Let's say it together. Corruption. You're doing a great job. Corruption is a noun. It refers to a type of dishonest behavior. The meaning is quite serious. Corruption is dishonest, fraudulent, or illegal behavior by people who are in positions of power, such as government officials or business leaders. It typically involves using that power to get a secret advantage or money for themselves. The classic example is a bribe. Imagine a powerful person in the government is in charge of giving out contracts to build a new bridge. One company secretly gives that person a lot of money to make sure they get the job, even if they aren't the best company for it. That is an act of corruption. Here's an example sentence you might read. The investigation revealed deep-seated corruption within the police force. In simple terms, this means the investigation found that many police officers were secretly using their power dishonestly, probably to get money. A good synonym for corruption is dishonesty, bribery, or fraud. Let's create a strong mental image. Imagine a referee at a very important soccer game. Everyone trusts the referee to be fair, but before the game, one team secretly pays the referee to make bad calls against the other team. The referee agrees and helps them win unfairly. That betrayal of trust for personal gain is the very heart of corruption. It makes people feel angry and that the system is broken. A quick usage tip. We usually talk about corruption in the context of large systems and organizations like governments or big corporations. The adjective form is corrupt. We can say that official is corrupt. The word corruption refers to the act or the system itself. So when you hear corruption, just think using power dishonestly for personal gain. 6. Diplomacy. When countries have problems with each other or when they want to work together to fight issues like corruption, they need to communicate. This brings us to a much more positive word, our sixth one, diplomacy. Let's pronounce it together. Di-plo-ma-cy. Let's break it down. Di-plo-ma-cy. The stress is on the second syllable, plo. Diplomacy. Let's try it. Diplomacy. Excellent. Diplomacy is a noun. It refers to a skill and an activity. In simple language, diplomacy is the job of managing relationships between different countries through peaceful discussion and negotiation. It's the art of countries talking to solve problems instead of fighting. It's about using words, not weapons, to find a solution. Here is an example sentence. The border dispute was resolved through diplomacy. What does that mean in simple words? It means the two countries solved their disagreement about where their border is by having their representatives talk peacefully until they reached an agreement. A synonym for diplomacy could be negotiation or international talks. Let's use a simple emotional example to help you remember it. Imagine two roommates are angry at each other because one is always messy and the other is always loud. Instead of yelling and fighting, they sit down at the kitchen table and have a calm conversation. They listen to each other, make a new set of rules they can both agree on, and shake hands. That process of resolving a conflict through careful, respectful talking is exactly what diplomacy is, but on a global scale, between nations. A quick tip: the people who have this job are called diplomats. The adjective is diplomatic. If you describe a person as diplomatic, you are giving them a compliment. It means they are skilled at handling difficult situations or people politely and without causing offense. For example, his answer was very diplomatic. When you hear diplomacy, think countries talking peacefully to solve problems. 7. Sanctions. But what happens when diplomacy doesn't work? What if one country continues to break international rules and talking isn't enough? That's when other countries might use our 7th word, sanctions. Let's practice the pronunciation. This one is shorter. Sank-shuns. It has 2 syllables. Sank-shuns. The stress is on the first syllable. Sank-shuns. Let's say it together. Sanctions. Very good. Sanctions is a noun, and it's almost always used in the plural form with an S on the end. So what are they? Sanctions are official punishments that one or more countries impose on another country to pressure it to change its behavior. These are typically economic punishments, not military ones. They are a way to put pressure on a country without starting a war. Think of it as a group punishment. Imagine in a classroom, one student keeps throwing paper airplanes even after the teacher has asked them to stop several times. The teacher might say, "Okay, because you won't follow the rules, you can't join the rest of the class for the fun pizza party on Friday." That punishment, designed to make the student change their behavior, is like a sanction. Here is a new style sentence. The EU has placed new sanctions on the country's oil exports. In simple terms, this means the group of European countries has officially punished that country by refusing to buy its oil, hoping this financial pain will force the country to change its actions. A good synonym would be penalties or restrictions. For a visual example, imagine a country is a big factory. Sanctions are like other countries deciding to block the roads leading to that factory. They stop trucks from delivering raw materials, imports, and stop trucks from taking finished products out to be sold, exports. The goal is to shut down the factory's business, to force the owner to follow the rules. A usage tip: sanctions are a very serious step in international relations. They are stronger than just a formal complaint, but are considered less severe than military force. You will almost exclusively hear this word in the context of international politics. When you hear sanctions, think economic punishments between countries. Number 8. Scandal. Sometimes secret actions like corruption or the actions that lead to sanctions are suddenly exposed to the public. When that happens, it can cause our 8th word, a scandal. Let's say this one. Scandal. It's just 2 simple parts. Scan, dull. The stress is at the beginning. Scandal. Try it with me. Scandal. Easy. A scandal is a noun. It's an event or a situation that causes public shock and outrage. What does it mean? A scandal happens when a shocking and immoral or illegal action, especially when done by a well-known person or organization, is made public. The 2 key parts are 1. a shocking bad action, and 2, the public finding out about it. A secret is just a secret. A secret that is exposed to everyone becomes a scandal. Let's use an example. The report led to a major political scandal. What does this mean in simple words? The report revealed that a powerful politician did something very wrong, and now everyone knows about it, causing a lot of public anger. A good way to think of it is as a public disgrace or a shocking public controversy. Let's paint a picture. Imagine a famous environmental activist who travels the world giving speeches about saving the planet and reducing pollution. Everyone admires them. Then, a journalist discovers that this activist secretly owns a private jet and a fleet of gas-guzzling sports cars. When this is published, the public is shocked by the hypocrisy. The activist's reputation is destroyed. That public explosion of a secret bad deed is a scandal. A quick usage tip. You'll often see other words attached to scandal to describe what kind it is. For example, a financial scandal is about money. A cheating scandal might be about sports or relationship. A political scandal involves politicians. When you hear scandal, just think, a shocking secret is now public. Number 9, spokesperson. When a large company or a government is in the middle of a scandal or a controversial issue, they need one official voice to talk to the public. That person is our 9th word, a spokesperson. Let's pronounce it. It's simply 2 words joined together. Spokes, person. The syllables are spokes, per, sen. The main stress is on the first word, spokes. Spokesperson. Let's try it. Spokesperson. Fantastic. A spokesperson is a noun. It's a job title for a person. The meaning is right there in the name. A spokesperson is a person who is chosen to speak officially for a group, a company, a government, or another individual. Their job is to communicate the official message to the public, especially to the news media. Think of them as the official messenger. If a car company has to recall thousands of cars because of a safety problem, the CEO is too busy to talk to hundreds of journalists. Instead, they have a spokesperson who is trained to answer questions, read official statements, and manage communication with the public. Here is an example sentence. The White House spokesperson held a press conference this morning. In simple terms, this means the official speaker for the president's office met with reporters today to give them information. A good synonym for spokesperson could be representative, or in a more informal way, mouthpiece. For a simple visual, imagine a student council. They have a president, a treasurer, and other members. When the school newspaper wants to know what the council is planning, they don't talk to everyone. They talk to the person whose job it is to speak for the whole group. That person is the council's spokesperson. A helpful usage tip. The word spokesperson is gender neutral. It can be used for a man or a woman. In the past, people used the words spokesman or spokeswoman, but today, spokesperson is the most common and inclusive word to use. When you hear spokesperson, just think the official messenger for a group. 10. Legislation. Finally, let's look at the main tool that governments use to create rules to deal with all of these issues: the economy, corruption, public safety. They do this through our 10th and final word, legislation. This is another long one, so let's take our time with it. Le, gis, lay, shun. Let's break it down. Le, gis, lay, shun. And there is our familiar friend, the shun sound. The stress is on the lay syllable. Le, gis, Legislation. Say it slowly with me. Legislation. Excellent work. Legislation is a noun. It can refer to a specific law or a set of laws. It also refers to the process of making laws. What does it mean? In the simplest terms, legislation is the official word for laws that are made by a government body, like a parliament or Congress. It is the formal name for the rules of the country. Think about the rules you follow every day, like the rule to stop at a red traffic light. That rule didn't just appear. A government had to propose it, debate it, vote on it, and then officially pass it into law. That entire process and the final law itself is all part of legislation. Here's a sentence you might hear in the news. The government is planning to introduce new legislation on data privacy. In simple terms, this means the government is planning to create a new official law to protect people's information online. A very simple synonym for legislation is just laws, acts, or statutes. Let's use a visual example. Imagine a group of people living on an island. At first, there are no rules, but soon they decide they need some. They gather together, discuss what the rules should be, like don't take someone else's coconuts, write them down on a large leaf, and everyone agrees to follow them. That process of creating the rules and the final written rules themselves are the island's legislation. A quick usage tip. The verb form is to legislate, which means to make laws. You might hear, it is the role of Parliament to legislate. However, you will hear the noun legislation much more frequently. It is often paired with verbs like to pass legislation, to approve it, to introduce legislation, to propose it, or to block legislation, to stop it. So when you hear legislation, just think official laws made by the government. And there we have it, 10 big and important words from the news. Now, just take a moment. Take a deep breath. Does your mind feel a little full? Maybe a little tired? That is a wonderful sign. It is completely normal. It means your brain has been active, building new pathways and absorbing new information. Please do not worry if you forget some of these words tomorrow. That is part of learning. The goal is not perfection. It is gentle progress. You can always return to this video anytime you need a calm and friendly reminder. What truly matters is that you were here today. You invested time in yourself and in your English journey. You looked at some words that might have seemed intimidating, and you discovered that they are understandable. You are capable, and you are improving every single day, even just by listening. Please be proud of the effort you made today. Thank you so much for joining me here at English Made Easy. If you enjoyed our calm learning session, please consider subscribing so we can continue learning together. I'll be back soon with another lesson to help make English feel a little less like a chore and a little more like a comfort. Until then, take wonderful care of yourselves and happy learning.